The amount of cringe
It's about friends
that I had to endure to make this video. I choose videos for my channel based on curiosity or things that I might find interesting. And as a kid growing up, I would always see these terminally corny ass commercials on TV for a new CD compilation. That compilation was called Kidz Bop. And even now, I ask myself, 20 years later, why did these things ever need to exist? Well, tonight, we're going to hopefully get to the bottom of that. This is Dancing with Ghosts.
These are the songs kids are singing.
The first Kidz Bop album dropped in 2001, and boy do I have that horrendous commercial indelibly burned into my brain tissue forever. Razor and Tie, the label that put out this ear cancer into the world, was mainly a label that released those songs of the 70s and hits of the 80s compilations. Label co-founders Cliff Chenfield and Craig Balsam created the Kidz Bop series and were later quoted as saying, "When our data showed just how stupid Americans were, we knew Kidz Bop would be a huge success." Okay, so maybe they didn't actually say that, but come on, they were totally thinking it. But they were right though. Since 2016, Kidz Bop has sold more than 16 million albums, which proves how lazy and clueless parents truly are. Songs off Kidz Bop albums have a fairly simple formula. Number 1. Watered down instrumentals that sound like a bad cover band version of the real song. Number 2, the songs are mostly sung by kids with nasally prepubescent annoying voices. Because, you know, if I'm 8 years old, I'd much rather hear my fellow first graders yell the song at me in unison rather than the original singer who sang on the track. Some of these songs, however, are sung by adults. And I don't know what Craigslist ad they found these people from, but these performances are laughably god-awful. Number 3, oftentimes lyrics are changed if they are deemed inappropriate for a child's ears. These lyric changes are usually done in a way to ensure maximum cringiness.
Wait a minute, fill my cup, put some water in.
Now, I just want to make sure you heard that right. He says, stop, wait a minute, fill my cup, put some water in it. Water. Now, of course, the original lyric being stop, wait a minute, fill my cup, put some liquor in it. Now, of course, we shouldn't be advocating underage drinking, but come on, water? Water? Couldn't they have at least said, like, Kool-Aid or something? Speaking as a former kid right now, I was like a mini adult, okay? I already knew about all this shit. By the time kids get old enough to care about popular music, they're gonna want the real deal. This shit would have insulted my intelligence had my parents put this on, and it would have felt very patronizing. But anyway, that's the Kidz Bop formula, and boy has it been a resounding success, much to my chagrin. Kidz Bop has branched out into DVDs, music videos, and even world tours. But this is my question though, why does Kidz Bop need to exist? Aren't you as a parent supposed to be monitoring everything that your child listens to? If you deem a song too inappropriate for your kid, just don't let them listen to the song. Don't give them some weird Kidz Bop version where they slightly change the lyrics, but the context is kind of still there. And on the other hand, if there's nothing wrong with a particular mainstream song, just let them listen to the real version. I don't know why Taylor Swift needs to be sung in unison by a bunch of snot-nosed little kids. How does that add to the enjoyment factor of the song? I just really don't understand that factor of Kidz Bop. When I was 8 years old, my dad put a pair of headphones on my ears, took the Sony Walkman, took Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here album and shoved the cassette into the Walkman, hit play, and what preceded was a brain orgasm of musical amazingness. I didn't even know this kind of sound existed. It was like magic. Hearing something that was real and substantive and was about like serious, subject matter and had atmosphere and David Gilmour's vocals and guitar tones. If my dad had shoved Kidz Bop into that cassette player, you know what I would have done? I would have opened up the car door on the highway and I would have rolled out, because that's how much I would have not liked my dad anymore. You as parents have so much opportunity to instill your kids with like really good music tastes and influence like how they're going to be when they get older. And by you taking the lazy ass approach and shoving some Kidz Bop in the car just to shut them up, shame on you. Your kids are your investment or something. But aside from parents just being lazy, another thing that has always bothered me about these Kidz Bop compilations is just how exploitive they are. They're not making anything new. They're not making anything more valid. They're literally just repackaging something that 9 times out of 10 doesn't even need to be repackaged, and they're selling it to gullible people. And the poor artists, who most likely have no say in whether their song is allowed to be used on a Kidz Bop compilation, has to stand by and watch their song be mangled in the worst kind of way. Because at the end of the day, it's the record labels who share in the lucrative spoils of publishing and album sales. I'm not the only one that finds fault with these cringy-ass Kidz Bop compilations. In 2018, Vox wrote an article about how Kidz Bop's censored songs aren't just annoying, they're problematic. The article basically goes on to say that though Kidz Bop may be censoring quote-unquote bad words, they're not censoring content. Christopher Bell, Associate Professor of Media Studies at the University of Colorado, was quoted in the article saying, "I don't need a sanitized version of Despacito. I need 8-year-olds not to be singing Despacito because that song is super dirty. And Kidz Bop doesn't always make that distinction." The article also focuses on the overall culture of media gearing kids towards, quote, getting older younger, by having violent and sexual overtones in the music videos and songs. And even though the kids don't know the implications of these things, the adults who are masterminding all of this do. One final thing that I'll say about all this to just kind of wrap things up. One of my favorite artists growing up, and still is Weird Al Yankovic, the king of the song parody. When I was young, I grew up in a really conservative, like Southern Baptist household. My parents wouldn't let me obviously listen to the current rock or pop songs on the radio because there were swearing and all that kind of stuff. What they would do, though, is let me listen to Weird Al. Weird Al would take these songs, he would change the music, or change the lyrics rather, the music would stay pretty much the same. And, he would do some funny take on it, and it'd be super clean and family friendly. And unlike Kidz Bop, Weird Al's songs are actually witty and still hold up to this day, so I'm not ashamed to still listen to Weird Al. But what happened with Weird Al was this kind of backdoor effect that I don't think my parents were expecting. When I heard the music, I was like, wow, this song is like really cool, and I really like the music behind it. And I would read his album liner notes, which are pretty much a thing of the past now, but they used to be a thing when physical media existed. And in the liner notes, it would say, like, for instance, when he did his polka, like, collages or where he puts together a bunch of songs, it would say, Bullet with Butterfly Wings, originally performed by the Smashing Pumpkins. Hurt, originally performed by 9 Inch Nails. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to look up this Smashing Pumpkins band. And I did, and they swore a lot, and they said things like, God is empty just like me. But you know what? The music sounded even cooler when I heard the Smashing Pumpkins do it. And that made me a lifelong Smashing Pumpkins fan. My point is that if you think you're saving your kids from listening to dirty music, you're really just whetting their appetite to listen to the real thing. As soon as you're not around and they get around their friends or their friends' parents leave the house, the first thing they're going to want to do is look up that sexy Bruno Mars video with all those half-naked chicks. Or they're going to want to hear the real version of the rap song where they actually say fuck instead of water. So point being, you're not doing anything. You're not sparing your kids. You're not saving them from becoming little degenerates, because if the will is in them and the curiosity is in them, they will find a way to go behind your back and do that shit anyway. That's my 2 cents on it. I hope you enjoyed this video about Kidz Bop. I seriously hated doing the research for this video more than I hated doing research for almost any other video I've done, because I actually had to listen to a lot of Kidz Bop songs, which probably put me on some kind of list. Anyway, comment below on what your thoughts on Kidz Bop are. Probably your only thought is, yeah, it's fucking annoying and I hate it, which is really the only acceptable opinion to have of Kidz Bop. Until next time, remember to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Have a good rest of your night.